beautiful Shropshire mere. I'm not going to mention it, but it's the most magnificent water. I've fished here on and off for about 5 years. And I've still got that love and passion for fishing. It's my favourite time of the year actually, when you see all the blossom coming out and the buds and that. It makes you feel good to be alive, doesn't it? Hi guys, good to see you again. This is episode 2 of Flashback Frank with myself. And what we're going to be doing on this trip is we're in a beautiful venue in Shropshire where I've fished since 2017, very infrequently I might add, but it's up to the current time, and I've caught some very, very nice fish here in the past, and I'm going to show you how I caught them in the past. And we've come to revisit the venue, and we're going to have a couple of days trying to catch its mega inhabitants. I mean, there's no real monsters in here, but there's some beautiful looking fish. So we can show you what we're up to, how we're using the rigs and baiting techniques and, you know, the whole gamut. Hope you enjoy it, and we can show you something mega. Catch you soon. Guys, can I tell you, this is one of the most beautiful waters in the UK. It's a water I'm well familiar with. I fished it for 4 or 5 years. Didn't fish it so much, but it was a special retreat where I used to come for some special time. It's got some amazing fish in it. It's a Shropshire mere, dates back to the Ice Age. Probably 12,000 years ago it was formed after the Ice Age. And it's a kettle, which Shropshire's famous for in Cheshire. It was what was left when the ice receded. Anyway, we finally got the rods in. John and I walked round for a good couple of hours this morning, first thing, trying to spot fish. There's not so many swims on this place actually. It's a reasonable size, but you know, there's probably about, I don't know, 8 swims on it. So we command a lot of water over here, and it just looked right. So we fancied it, and it's really rough terrain actually, and awkward to get to some of the swims, but we weren't being lazy, we were prepared to go anywhere, but this was what caught our eye. Anyway, got the rods in. I'm going to go into the history of this place and some of the captures I've had, and you know, tell you more about it later on. But for now, I'm fishing spots that I know. The level's right down, by the way, at the moment. It's a good 2 feet down from normal, and the weather's glorious. We're early spring. You can hear the canadas are all getting giddy, and basically it's a mini heat wave. Yesterday was a freezing cold wind before we started fishing, and I thought today was going to follow the same vein, but it's been really roasting. We were setting up and we were actually sweating. It's amazing how you can go from being really cold with a chilly wind, so the following day almost like being on a beach in Ibiza or something. It's roasting, and obviously the fish are going to like this. It's quite a deep lake this, by the way, so we're fishing in the shallower water at the moment. We're fishing between 5.5 and 6 foot deep, and because I think the fish will come up into the margins and onto the shallower ground. The pads are not up yet. It's normally festooned with pads. A lot of the island margins and the margins are full of lily pads, and we normally fish close to those, and the fish just keep falling for it as they often do, you know, rather than fishing the deeper open water. Anyway, I found where the pads are just starting to come up, and I'm fishing close to those, and John's doing likewise. He's fishing a snaggy area. Most of the snags are high and dry actually, so you can't get, you know, near to where normally the fish would go under, because they're high and dry and exposed with the level dropping. But feeling very confident, so we'll see what happens, and I'll keep you posted. But it's good to be alive, you know, and I've had a few, you know, bad things happen so far this year. I lost my dad and my uncle, and I've had all kinds of carnage, so it's just great to be out and getting over it. And yeah, I mean, you never get over it, but I'm feeling, you know, life's worth living again. So hopefully we'll catch something nice, and I'll have something good to show you. So I'll see you later. Well, I don't know what's happened to this springtime clubbing that everyone talks about. It's really not happening on here. And there's other people on, and I don't think anything's been out today. So I'm a member of the blanking club so far, and but it's all part of the game, and I'm not too, you know, sort of disturbed by it at the moment, because I've decided I'm going to play the waiting game. And one of my strategies is, depends which water I'm on and if I've got the feel for it, but one of my ploys is to just leave the baits out from the minute I arrive to the minute I go. It can either work brilliant or it can blow up in your face, but I've got a feeling I've got everything right that works on this place. I know that the spots are relatively good. I mean, quite shallow water, we've had all this sun, the food's nagging them, the hook baits are acceptable, what I've caught all the previous fish on. So basically, I'm playing the waiting game, and we'll see what occurs, and we'll let you know tomorrow morning if that's happened tonight. So keep you posted. So in a bit. Right, there we go. Oh, it's only a small one, 18 pound, but it's a start. And basically it came on one of the rods that I left out. I was just played the waiting game. I knew the tactic was right, and you know, I had one at 4 o'clock in the morning, which was a similar time to John's, so the night feeding. So I knew it'd nag them. So as I say, it's nothing special, but it's a fish in fairly slow conditions. So yeah, you got to be reasonably happy with it. And we've got plenty of time left, so hopefully we'll have a few more to show you. And yeah. Right, well, I'm back at one of my old favourite lakes, probably one of the prettiest lakes in the whole of the world, in my opinion. It's magnificent. It's like a figure of 8, this lake. It's like a lake of 2 halves. Strangely enough, I haven't fished the other half. I've mainly fished this, well, exclusively fished this half. And I suppose you might be thinking that I've done a campaign on this place in the past, but I haven't really. I first fished it in October of 2017, and I heard bits about it. It was like kept very quiet, this place. And in the past, it's done some very big fish. It's done like Shropshire 40s, and Shropshire's an amazing county, really. It's one of the prettiest counties in Britain, and the waters have got something of a hidden reputation, really. You know, there was a lot of waters like Fenimere and the mangrove where you had to live in the vicinity to fish them in the early days, and this is one of those waters in that chain. Anyway, that's setting the scene a little bit for the place. I started in October 2017, and Ellis invited us to come over and get a ticket. And Ellis Brazier runs the water and has done ever since. Well, I think he's been running it since 2012, something like that. In the past, it's had some very big fish in it for this area, but those fish are long gone now. And but the fact is, it's not all about the size of fish, it's about the surroundings in my fishing. I'm not really a bouncy hunter. It's great if there's some big fish in there, but this place had fish up to nearly 40 pounds, so that'll do me. You know, I think any fish over 30 pounds are big fish. So certainly for Shropshire and Cheshire. Anyway, I came down and I didn't know what to expect, really, because I plumbed the depths and it's got depths down to 18 feet. And got a lot of snags in the margins, so I eyed it up and I thought, you know what, that looks perfect for casting. I mean, at the time when I came on, bait boats were allowed, but I, was quite anti-bait boat. Not anti-bait boat, I just didn't like using them myself. And so I decided that I wanted to cast no matter what, even if I caught less from doing that. That's why I wanted to approach it. So I decided to fish down the tree line, and I had a carbon throwing stick and was baiting up with that with 16 and 18 mil boilies. I realised very quickly that I couldn't go round the back of the trees to throw bait in from there. It was just too thick, the undergrowth. And anyway, the first night, I after putting about 3 kilo of bait in over 3 rods, I just staggered them down the tree line. Fished up, locked up solid with 5-ounce leads. I had long shank hooks on, size 4 long shank, a blowback rig with a shrink tube. You've probably seen that I've mentioned that particular rig quite often when I've talked about them. And I was fishing locked up solid. And in the night I had a take and had a pretty tremendous battle, and it happened to be the biggest common in the lake. So the first night on, I'd caught a fish that was normally hovering around 38, 39 pound, but it was down in weight. And from memory, I think it was just around 34 pound. But it didn't matter the weight. The fact was it was a mega fish, and which I'll show you. And I thought, what a great start. And I did wonder at the time, what the hell else is in here, because you can't always, be sure of what's in these kind of waters that have got a quite hidden past. So I thought, if that's the first fish, what could be possible? Anyway, I had another smaller fish at first light. It was a fully scaled sort of 18 pounder, I think. And so that was it for that session. And then, as I say, I didn't fish it that frequently. I came back on another occasion. Well, actually, it was the second trip. Let's get it right. And that was in November. And the weather had deteriorated. All the leaves had gone off the trees. And I was wondering whether it'd start slowing off. So I followed the same procedure, basically. And I had another 30 common on my second trip, which was another pristine fish. And I had a smaller fish on that occasion as well. So what I was doing was working, and I didn't come in the winter because I was doing other things. I tend to fish a lot of different waters. And then, as I say, I fished it quite infrequently, but I came again, and on one occasion I brought a friend as a guest, and came on the same side basically where I'm fishing now. And I asked Russ where he fancied fishing, because he was a guest, and he fancied where I'd caught these 30s from down the tree line. So I went on this swim here, which is called the beach swim, because it's particularly nice sun trap actually. And in the summer there's a big line of pads that go right out near the island in the centre. And the pads are always a magnet for fish. And I was fishing long range and did the same procedure there. And it was quite a ferocious wind blowing at the time, and I quite fancied Russ for having fish there, but for some reason they weren't playing the game. And it started where I was, and I ended up with 6 fish, and I caught the same big common again. And it was up in weight, it was 34.4 a little bit. And yeah, I wasn't too disturbed about that, but I had 2 29 pounders and some other 20s, and all the fish were in tremendous nick, so it was a good old session, And that's how it's gone really. It's been very kind to me, this place. On one occasion I brought Tom, who works for Jag, and he came as a guest, and he caught a 22 pound common that had its pelvic snipped off, because I think there'd been an otter problem on this particular water. A lot of the waters in this region have had the same Problem because the River Severn runs in this valley, and the otters can easily get into this. You know, none of these waters are like Fenimore and that are able to be fenced, otter fenced, so a lot of them are on estates and they want it leaving natural. So the fish have just had to put up with the fact that predation is a constant threat, unfortunately. Anyway, this fish had obviously been mauled by an otter that Tom caught. I had a take, and I had, I think it was £32 or 33. My memory isn't as good as it used to be. But I showed Ellis, and he put it to all the syndicate members, and this fish had never been seen before. So, and it was an absolute pristine mint fish. Yet again, we'll be able to show you some pictures of that. And as I say, I've infrequently fished it. I've used it more as a special treat because there isn't many swims on here, and you know, the guys that fish it regular, I never really want to interfere with them, and so I'll just come in the autumn mainly. But this session that I'm doing currently, we're in March, and I've never fished it in March before, so it's all new to me. There's no sign of pads. The pads are literally small stems, so it's all new ball game exploring it. So we'll see how the session goes. Probably could have been a little bit more concise and gone into every detail of every capture, but that gets a bit boring. But I'll just give you a little sort of overview of how I've approached this for not so many sessions and had relatively decent success on a lake that I really do treasure and is very special to me. So let's see how the session unfolds anyhow, and then we'll keep you posted. Right, I thought you might want to know a little bit about the bait tactics that I'm using on this session. I use it on a lot of the sessions I'm doing anyhow. It's quite a bit of a go-to thing for me. Familiar theme, works. What I have, I use plenty of sweet corn in the mix. I use the big tins, get them at 2¼ kilos a piece. It works out very cheap, they're about £4.50 each. I use MB baits, boilies. I've got some 8mm, 10s, and these little beauties, they look like a small pellet, or a 4mm pellet, just over 4mm, like a 5mm pellet. I've got some pellets in there as well. I've got some mainline response pellets. I found them really good, the Active 8 ones. They're always a good pellet, those. And I use some from I think it's S&G in Nottingham. They do very good pellets as well. Some of the, well, I forget them, the premier ones, yeah, the premium. They're a very good pellet. I use those, but I've run out normally. About this time of the year, I normally do a massive order and get about 5 or 6 sacks, various sizes. I've got some big baits in there as well because we've got a lot of nuisances in this lake, a lot of silverfish. So I put some 16s and 18s in, very few, just so there's something left if they get cannibalised by the smaller bits. Added to that, I do fresh hemp. I know you can buy it in jars now, it's very convenient, but I always get the Burko out and make my own. And it's pretty cost effective like that, and there's nothing better than fresh hemp with that fresh oil coming off it. I tend to take the liquid with the hemp with me as well, so I can pour that into the mix, and it soaks into all the boilies and pellets and everything, and it's uber attractive. And I find that more attractive actually than just hemp oil. So I use the hemp juice and rehydrate the baits with it, and I find it gives off a mega signal, stops any shitty smells from silt on the lake bed from getting into the bait. And also I use worms, so it's hemp, the mixed boilie and sweet corn, and the chopped worm, and that's all I need. And that'll catch me fish from virtually any water in the country and abroad. So let's get on to the rigs I'm using. It very much depends on where I'm fishing and what I'm doing, but I very rarely swerve away from 5-ounce leads. And I like safety clips. I know a lot of people like helicopter rigs and that, but I'd prefer to lengthen the hook length. If I'm fishing in deep silt, I'd much rather lengthen it off. I'm always a bit suspect about the hook length when you're setting the bead. You know, there's quite a lot of movement. I know it works, but I'm just a little bit set in my ways, I guess. You'll notice I've got quite a big shot on there. Now I'm using a wafter and a piece of Enterprise plastic corn that are pre-flavoured. I've got a size 4 curve, which is a Trakker curve, micro ring swivel. I'm using a slip D, 25-pound coated up length with the last inch, so it's able to move around. But that shot is really quite big, and the reason I've got it about exactly 2 inches away from the hook, I don't want it any nearer. If it was a pop-up, different, but at the end of the day, this is a wafter, and the sole reason to do that is to, before they even hit the lead, it's to start that drag factor. As soon as they suck it in, it's adding more than normal to it to try and get that initial hook hold, and you'd be surprised how quick it works. That at one time years ago, you know, when we were doing the supercritical balance baits, you wouldn't have dreamt of having a heavy shot anywhere near a bottom bait or a wafter, but I do it all the time now and it's caught me loads of fish. So it's worth trying, but as I say, never put it too close to. They've got to have enough movement to hang themselves and to be able to suck it into the mouth before they feel that weight. Blindingly simple, but it's caught me tons of fish, and that's what I'm using on this session. But I'm not saying it's better than using fluoros or single up baits or bags, solids, anything. It's just what I'm using currently on this place, and what's caught me some very nice fish considering the amount of sessions I've done. So there we go. Do you know what? I was doing the waiting game with these, and I just thought to myself, I can't believe one's not gone, because in the past, you know, it's worked on here doing that kind of setup. Hang on, I've got a bit of a, oh yeah, it's just gone underneath. Sorry about that, I'm just concentrating on what I'm doing. Yeah, what had happened was I put the rods out and played the waiting game. It was a tactic, and I thought I'd blown it, and one of them's just gone right at the end. So yeah, don't feel very big, but you know, a bite's a bite. Another fish should be good. So this has been out from the very start when I got here, all this time, and gone right at the last knockings just as we were packing up, and rather chuffed. How about this then, guys? 27.6, right at the last knockings. It was one of the rods that had played the bait and weight game. So I thought, I couldn't believe it, that actually hadn't gone. I know the rod that I thought was a banker went with a smaller fish, but right at the end we're just packing up, John and I, and then got a screaming drop back. Got this little beauty, which is a hell of a result really, you know, on an early spring session, because it's not been fishing so good. So yeah, and you've seen the tactic work, so it's not always about re-chucking all the time. There's plenty of ways of skinning a cat, so think about that one. You don't have to be casting, leaving bait here, there and everywhere, you know, just try it with one rod, just put it out and leave it till it goes. Even if it takes some balls right to the end of the session, you know. So there we are. Cracker, eh? Well, what do you think about that then? Absolutely brilliant. Mega ending. I left 2 rods steaming there, just it's probably the wrong term to use, but stewing away. And from the very start of the session to right at the last knockings, I thought, do you know what, my plan had gone wrong. But because it has been fishing quite slow, this place, you know, it's early spring, water's still freezing cold. We've had freezing cold nights, hot in the day, but frost at night. And it's not kicked off yet. You've not got to that period when the fish are really starting to feed. So I took a chance, and I thought, do you know what? I can't believe one of those sit and wait rods hasn't gone. And then right at the last knocking, screaming drop back, and then belung 27.6. We thought it was a 30 actually. It was a mega fish, one of the old originals, which is what we came for. So yeah, what a smashing ending. So. When you look back over some of the memories I've got of this place, and we show you some of the shots, that's kind of tipped it off nicely. So we couldn't wish for better. We've had a beano as well, me and Johnny, and it's been great. It's brought back a lot of the memories of the good times, and finished with a nice memory as well. So I hope you're enjoying the series, and subscribe to the Trakker channel, and join us on our next trip, which will be the 3rd in the series. And it'll be somewhere interesting again, but thanks for coming along on the journey, and I'll see you soon.